doing?
We're doing great.
Good. All right. Have at it.
We were talking yesterday about wanting to see Jaden tap into his leadership abilities. Do you see any added comfort for him now that he's not like in that 4-game audition almost, and he's kind of settled in here more?
Yeah, you certainly do. I think he's more confident in himself as a player, ability to execute our offense. He's more confident, I think, in just the relationships that he's developed with his teammates. It was a unique situation last year, right, where you come in towards the end of the year and you become the starter, and it's a tricky position to be in. And I thought he handled it really well, but he certainly seems just more confident, more assertive as a leader, as a player right now, and that's what we're going to need him to be.
You've been able to see enough from Stewart in 2 months to form an opinion whether he has a chance to play for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, physically, there's no doubt he's going to have an opportunity to help. It'll be just about his progress out here. I mean, he's a big, strong kid. You look at his, the way the kid tests, both in movements and in strength. Like, there's nothing that's going to hold him back from being able to contribute early in his career. It'll ultimately be for him, how fast he can pick up the defense, how well he can adjust to playing against college-level offensive linemen, and obviously him being here in spring is huge because he's an attentive guy. He's in the facility darn near all day right now. You always just see him in with one of the coaches or around just the staff. So he's really working hard at it. Yeah, first day kind of non-pad, so those are the toughest to evaluate day one. But he's got the talent to do it, and now it's just going to be putting in the work and building him up to be a consistent enough player to trust to put out there on Saturdays.
Do you anticipate having Anthony Lucas at all this spring?
Possibly a little bit at the end. It certainly won't get to a full contact or full speed, but we hope to be able to push him into some individual at the end, and we're being smart with it. I mean, if the timeline was a little bit different, we might push it a little bit more. But time is our friend right now. He's had a great recovery and rehabilitation process up to this point. We want to make sure that continues.
With Jaden, how did you see him just attack these last couple months? And obviously you challenged him to be more of a leader, but in terms of developing as a quarterback, where did you see maybe those strides?
Well, he's you hear the term that someone's their own toughest critic, and he's honestly a guy sometimes he can almost overdo it. So he's not one that you really worry about getting complacent or not wanting to work on the areas that he knows he needs to attack and put in the necessary time and effort. For him, sometimes it's more don't be so hard on yourself. We'll be plenty hard enough on you. You make sure you give yourself credit for the Big Ten plays that you have made and the progress you have made as well. So I think for him, it's a little bit that balance. So he naturally just has that ability to, really be critical of himself, to really, I think, put everything he can into the areas. He doesn't. You're never going to see I'm so good at this. I'm going to take it for granted and not put work into it. He's the complete opposite of that, which is great because he's a driven worker and he wants to play a lot better for us than he did last year. And he played pretty darn good. So that's a pretty good sign.
Can you talk us through the linebacker position battle and with Eric Gentry coming back with his injury history? How do you manage that?
Yeah, it's it's one of the more thin groups right now on the team. It's also a room that we're really excited about the talent. We're really excited about who's coaching them. I mean, the whole thing. So obviously Eric being back and healthy and moving around doing great right now is a great thing. Obviously he's an impactful player for us, and he's got a lot that he can get better at. I think Rob will be really good for Eric. We were excited, obviously, with how Desmond Stevens played last year as a true freshman. Not even just the games, kind of how he handled the practice and just the whole thing certainly leads us to believe that he's ready for a bigger role. Jaden Walker came on after a shoulder surgery coming in and really wasn't able to do much early in the year, was able to contribute some for us there at the end, and we were pretty excited about what we saw with him. So this will be a big spring for Jaden. Obviously moving Beavers down, was, I think, a great thing. We've been close to doing it at other times here. At other times we didn't feel like we had the depth and safety to be able to make that move, but he's one of the best tacklers on the team, one of our strongest leaders, a really consistent player. So I think that's going to be a great move for him. So yeah, I mean that's kind of that's obviously the room. We got two great guys in Quentin R and Roman Marchetti that have been really good special teams players for us as well. So yeah, it's a good room. We'll obviously get a couple more freshmen here in a couple months, but I like the talent. I like the competition. You know, we're going to really be looking for the depth that we know we're going to need to make the run that we expect to make.
A lot of moving parts on the offensive line. How do you feel just in general about that group?
I feel good. It's one of those that could play out a lot of different ways right now. I mean, you got a couple of guys, and you know, certainly in Alani with the way he played at the end of the year, and then you know, most likely obviously Page, you know, that you feel like are, you know, guys that, you know, are going to handle that left tackle and that right guard spot, and then after that it's kind of a toss-up, you know, to be honest. There'll be a lot of competition within the room. We have probably more guys right now that can play multiple positions than what we've had. We have more depth than what we've had. We have a few more centers than what we've had. So I'm excited about the room, excited about the competition. The new guys that we brought in, I think, have brought some experience and attitude to that group. And then some of the guys that were able to play at the end of the year, playing the A&M game, like Tobias and Justin, and those guys, you know, showed us some, Killian showed us some things that we were pretty excited about leading into this offseason.
Where's Hussam Longstreet at in his development arc as the true freshman? And what has Sam Hewitt showed you?
Hassan is further ahead than most freshmen at this time. I mean, the advantage of being able to come in for, you know, a little bit of the bowl practice, to be in some of those meetings, to, you know, to set up where this wasn't his actual first college practice today was pretty cool. And then he did a great job at taking advantage of being a local guy, and he was here as much as the rules, you know, would allow. You know, as it came to a lot of meetings, came to a lot of practices on his own time, on his own dime, and that's paid off because he's way further ahead than most guys would be at this age. So he's his ability to communicate and manage the group right now as a young guy is pretty impressive. And I would say a lot of the same for Sam. You know, if he can overcome getting coached by his uncle, he's got a shot. So he's Sam is. You could tell he's just a football guy, right? You could tell it's what he grew up around. You could tell that he's been in college football, that he's had to learn systems. Like he just picks stuff up and communicates effortlessly, and which is, you know, what we expected and hoped to get out of him. So, fun room to coach right now.
What do you hope to get from Elijah Newbie this year?
We're excited to see. You know, we're gonna work him. We're gonna work him on the edge a lot here this spring. You know, we're gonna move him around and try to use that skill set because it's a really unique skill set. We've obviously, as you guys I think have seen the roster and some of the new kind of weights and how some of these guys' bodies have changed. We've put some weight on him, and he looks good carrying it around. So trying to find kind of that right position and right role with him. There's no doubt, like, he's got the talent, the mindset. Like, there's definitely a role. Like, this guy's gonna make an impact. It's, I think, us and him kind of finding that right spot. So gonna work him a little bit more on the edge here this spring. So he'll be working with you know, with Coach Newbie and Coach Henney a lot, and then still doing some things within our packages to try to take advantage of his athleticism.
Coach, you like to make sure your quarterback's one of your team leaders. Who are some of the younger guys in your couple of years now that you're starting to see develop some of these leadership traits?
I would put Killian in that group for sure. I would put Kamari in that group for sure. You know, I would definitely put Jaden in that group right now. Go through. You know, I think Eric has come a long way as a leader. I think a young guy like a Des Stevens has a chance to grow into a really good leader. You see some of those qualities in him. I think a guy like Christian Pierce has a chance to grow into a really good leader. He's got some alpha-like qualities. He was our most impactful player on special teams last year, and really has had a great offseason. I think he's primed to take a major role in the secondary. There's a lot of them. I mean, I think of like the guys that we recruited and brought in, specifically this year's freshmen and last year's class. You look at kind of the guys you feel like upcoming are going to be leaders, and you're like, man, there's a lot of them. Which that's, in my experience, when you start to feel that way about your classes, that's typically a pretty good sign.
Thank you, Coach Riley.
All right,
Thanks
everybody.